Welcome back to The Real Room with Lucretia Mitchell. Today, I have the honor of sitting down with truly a remarkable woman, one who embodies strength, grace, and the kind of faith that moves mountains. She is the definition of a Proverbs 31 woman, resilient, wise, and full of love, even in the face of life's greatest challenges. Her story isn't just one of loss, but of unshakable love, unwavering faith, and an incredible transformation. Y'all get ready because this conversation is about to bless and inspire you in ways you didn't see coming. Welcome, Miss Gabrielle Johnson, to The Real Room. Hey, lady, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. All right, how are you feeling right now?
I'm a little nervous just because, we talked about, I don't really speak, as far as, but if you in front of me, I'm myself. But
Yeah.
we're being recorded, so
It's a little different.
it's a little different, but I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Well, let's break the ice. I do this with all of the people that come into The Real Room.
Okay.
Just to kind of get you loosened up a little bit. We're going to do a this or that. And so
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question
Okay.
and you select your preference.
Okay.
Okay. So coffee or tea?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Coffee, probably right
Coffee.
now.
You prefer
Yeah.
coffee. Okay. Staycation or vacation?
Oh, vacation for sure.
Okay. So
Mhm.
let's talk about it because you just went somewhere. And I'm living through her on these
Waikiki.
photos.
No, I'm playing.
Yes. How was that? Tell us about it.
It was beautiful. The scenery, the people, everything was great. I feel like I didn't get to really get too much in with the food. I wasn't really feeling some of the food, but I will say that the views are just like breathtaking, and it
Yeah.
seems like almost unreal.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's just like it was a very nurturing experience, environment to be in.
Yeah.
Outside of the resort area and your crowd of folks and your shopping and all that. Like I like was in the nature.
Yeah.
I
It was
wanna-
beautiful.
I want to be more in the nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a blast. So, I went with a good childhood friend and her girlfriend, and we had a good time. And if I go back, there's a lot of things on my list I want to add now.
Mm.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Have you been to Hawaii?
I went to Honolulu.
Yeah. So we were in Honolulu, Waikiki
Okay.
area, but we went over to like North Shore.
Okay.
We went through Jurassic Park. You got to go through Jurassic Park.
See,
You
okay.
got to do it.
I don't even want to talk about our Hawaii trip.
Okay.
But I think we went through that area because we did
Okay.
go to the North Shore.
Okay.
But the time that we went on Christmas.
Okay.
And we couldn't even get in the water because the waves were so
Oh, yeah,
bad.
yeah.
But I do believe that we went through the
Yeah.
Jurassic Park area.
Okay.
It was beautiful.
It's unforgettable.
Yeah.
And like we took the movie scene tour, so like you got to see like where a lot of the movies were shot. It's more than Jurassic Park.
Okay.
It's called Kahlua Ranch, so it's more than just Jurassic Park. It's there's a lot of movies that were shot actually at that
In
ranch.
that- okay.
And just the nature of them, like their intentions with what's there and them
Mhm.
preserving it. Like I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, if you've had to fill out the form before you got off the plane saying
Yeah.
like agriculture, you're not bringing any animals.
So we didn't do all that.
Okay. Well, there's a form you got to fill
Okay.
out before you even land, and maybe they implement. I don't know when they implement it.
Well, no, I don't think we went through what you went through is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then and that wasn't just us going to Jurassic Park. That's a form that anybody stepping into that
space
island
area
has to fill out.
Mhm.
When you coming back, they actually scan your bag before you even get to TSA.
Okay.
Before you even can check in your bags, they scan your bag. Before you even go to the check in at United
Yeah.
or wherever you find with, they scan your bags and they're checking before you even make it into wherever you're going. So then you go
Okay.
you check your bag and then you go through TSA. So that's how much they value their land and their culture, and I appreciate that by all means. But I think the beauty, like North Shore was kind of wavier than Waikiki was, as far as like when we were out there. But it was just breathtaking, and like just to even just go there and sit there, the 8-hour plane ride is worth it. Because I was like, girl, I was telling the girl that kind of orchestrated it, my homegirl's friend, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, especially with all these
Hey,
plane
now
crashes going on.
Ooh, tell
I
me
was
about
sending
it.
her reels and things like that. She was probably sick of me. I said, I don't know about this. I got 3 kids to come home to. But, we focused on the intention of going and having a good time. They're hard workers. And so we were all there just soaking it in. She actually was there for 3 months for work. So she got to experience it a lot too. So having her be like, hey, y'all got to come out here.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to come. Now I want to go to all the little different islands out there. Because I think you have to plane to all of them. And there was a guy on the plane, he was talking about island hopping. And I was like, let me listen to him. And I'm like, I'm going to go see a volcano. I'm going to go paddle above the turtles and the sharks. I'm just like, now I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I can do this plane ride again. So you got to go back. And I don't know if you're the adventure one or if the one that's just like we're chilling, but I'm the adventure one. So like I want to go back and I want to walk through,
see everything. Yeah.
the ranch, and they got plants and stuff everywhere. They grow a lot of like, fruits and veggies, and they preserve things that just been stepped on too. Like they had certain things that been stepped on in movie scenes and they like preserve the area so that way, it doesn't get messed up and people can remember it was there. So it was a really dope experience.
Cool.
I encourage everyone, go to Hawaii.
Listen, okay, so let's get into it.
Okay.
Let me ask you a few questions to get to know Gabrielle. Okay. So the first question, before we dive into your journey of love and loss, I want you to tell me who Gabrielle Johnson is at the core.
I'm love. I'm resilience, and I would say depth. I think that describes me to the core.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So take us back to the earlier days of Gabrielle, just however far back you want to go.
Girl.
Tell us about, let's just start off with that young teenage Gabrielle. Who was she back then? By the way, we both went to Southeast, so Southeast alums here.
Yeah, went to Southeast, but some people don't know that I actually graduated from Del City.
Okay.
So I did leave, and it was because I got pregnant with my oldest son in high school, and I was a little embarrassed, I ain't gonna lie. And I think I had a good friend that was going to Del City at the time, and she was just like, come over here. And I'm like, let me come over here, because like not everybody knows me, but a lot of people did know me anyway, because we all kind of worked together at DirecTV. But I would say my earlier days, I was definitely nowhere near my growth where I'm at now. I was probably a lot more impulsive with a lot of things, and but I still carried a lot of resilience. I will say that stuck with me. I still carried a lot of love. And so I think that I just I just did whatever to do whatever. I don't know how to explain that, but I was for sure always a lover and a nurturer. Having a child young helped me grow a lot faster, but always a big dreamer. Always, I was a daddy's girl. So I was like, I wanted to be in his skin. I love my daddy. I love that man. And he was an entrepreneur like me, and that's where I get it from. So I think that, just I would call myself a realist, because I think my problem was probably me being too honest all the time and not in the right place at the right time. So I had to really learn myself with that. Learn how to still be that way, but also be more considerate of the way I presented it and delivered it.
Yeah.
But I was for sure like, I don't have an issue saying this or doing this. And I'm just like, okay. And you get a little older, you're like, okay, that's not working for you. Like, that's not good. You got to figure out how to channel that in a different direction and different delivery. So, but yeah, I was a big time daddy's girl. I love my family, my brothers, I think that kind of like, yeah.
So what's funny why I'm laughing is because when you say what you think, like if you're ever around her, like she don't care. She gonna say it.
Yeah, I do. And I think that's also now I'm like more of like a reading people before I do it. And also trying to deliver it way better than I did before. Because when I was younger, I just it was whatever.
It didn't matter.
And people don't, we all grow up in different households, different upbringings, different beliefs. And so for me, I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking like everybody, would register what I was saying and it wouldn't come off as offensive. I didn't think it was offensive because I felt like, okay, I'm just being real. I'm being honest. I'm speaking my mind, and that's what I was always told to do.
But everybody can't receive that.
Exactly. And that's something I learned big time. And I actually probably my husband's probably the one who humbled me the most, because he let me be myself, but he was like, "Listen, okay,
Get it together. Okay. Let me tell you
listen,
about yourself.
listen." He was like that. No, like, so he did, and I was like, okay, there's a way to be honest,
Yeah.
and there's a way to speak your truth, and there's a way to be you, but there's also a way to carry it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I just I got my dad was kind of like that. He was like a what I say do, but he had
Yeah.
a different position. You know, he was a father,
Mhm.
he was a business owner. I mean, I'm his child. So I was like, okay. So I had to really grow out of that. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's still some growth in that a lot because I still have to honor my truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like me now is like more reading the room and like, okay, who can be receiving of
Yeah.
that part, but not, you know, also being quiet,
Yeah.
and not everybody has to hear everything that go through your mind.
That part. That part. No, I love it. I love it. I think, you know, even hearing you say that and just, you know, having to grow from some of the stuff that
Yeah.
you've dealt with or you were who you were before,
Mhm.
right? As we get older, we kind of have to evolve, and if you
Mhm.
don't, you may not be able to grow the way that
Right.
God intends you to grow,
Right.
right? But I think for you, just watching just your evolution since I've known you has just been
Mhm.
amazing. I still feel like you the person that's gonna say whatever's on her mind. You're going to
Hopefully
speak
it's a
your
lot
truth.
better.
No, no, it is, but it's just
Yeah.
been amazing watching you.
Yeah.
So for the people out there, tell them who Gabrielle is right now in this moment.
I mean, I'm for sure a fighter. We know that.
Mm,
So, I'm still love resilience and depth. I would say I'm still that. I would say now it's more of like loving on me
mm,
and being a better mom
yeah,
and being figuring out as far as, you know, my work life and how to balance that.
yeah.
But I mean, I would still say I'm still love.
Yeah. You are. You're a ray of sunshine for
Yeah.
sure. I think it's important to kind of give people context
Yeah.
of why we're kind of sitting in this space. For me, I've had the pleasure of kind of watching from the sidelines, but it's
Mhm.
been an honor just to watch the woman that you have become over the last few years and
Yeah.
what you've had to endure. And I remember your name being dropped in my spirit, and I'm like, Lord, I don't know if she's quite ready yet,
Yeah.
but He wanted me to reach out, and so I'm reaching out. I
Yeah.
truly believe that your story is one not only that has been given for you
Right.
to grow into the woman that you're supposed to be,
Right.
but to help other people out there. And
Right.
so, for those that don't know what this last few months have been like for
Mhm.
you, can you kind of paint that picture for them? And I wanted to
Yeah.
create a space for you where it was sacred, but you felt comfortable in doing
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's a roller coaster for sure. Grief is not like it's not pretty. I mean, in a sense it is, but it's not. I mean, like it's just it's a day-to-day thing.
Hmm.
I mean, some bad days. I mean, where you would say bad is like you just don't want to do nothing, you don't want to deal with people,
Yeah.
you just like want to be checked out. And then
Yeah.
there's days where it's like, okay, let me get back to myself. I owe that to myself. I owe that to my family. I owe that to my kids. Like, let me get back to being Gabby, and like this is life.
Yeah.
And we all grieve, and we grieve life that's not here, and we grieve life that's still here. I mean, we grieve things that are in the present still that are like we need to get past or we need to
Yeah.
grow out of. So it's like I think that's my new thing is like navigating grief. And like the beauty of it is like experience it, you know, with anything you do, it's either gonna make or break you, right? And it's like
Mhm.
not to make that choice to let it break you into something or turn
Mm.
you into something that you don't want to be, right? Because I know I don't want to be this person, this angry person at life. Like that's
Yeah.
just not me. And I think it helped because going through or being a part of ALS for 10 years really helped me realize a lot about life. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a day-to-day thing. I mean, with my from my children to myself to
Yeah.
even family members or whatever, it's like, you know, it could be a trigger, you know. Some things could be a trigger. It can be a small thing, a song, a food you're eating,
Mhm.
somebody saying something, not
Yeah.
intentionally, but
Yeah.
it's like it could be a trigger and it's like, whoa, like okay, this just whole like let's redirect or we gotta check out. We
Yeah.
gotta check out because we can't be, you know, I don't want to turn into this angry person or anything like that. So I think, that's just kind of a way to look at it. I think like I said, the beauty part of it is it teaches you a lot and it makes you appreciate a lot and it makes you not take things for granted and it makes you it can make you stronger.
Yeah.
It can make you stronger. It can make you weaker. I mean, it just depends on who, I think everybody just deals with experiences differently.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I learned with ALS is like everybody has a lot of life going on, whether it could be something simple that you think, but the other person may think it's a lot, the other person dealing with it. And that's the way I looked at it too, is just like not, thinking like, okay, I'm going through something more grander than Cree is. Like you got your own shit and I got my own shit, but like it's how we handle it and it's how we keep ourselves grounded within ourselves and we don't look at it like, okay, I deserve to act this way and be this way because of what I'm dealing with. And that's something I really learned growing through what we did. And even grief now is like, okay, yes, I went through all this stuff, but it doesn't make me better than you or anybody else because I got the resume of this luggage that I just was toting around and dealing with, and I had, you know what I mean? It's like I just feel like, and that's one thing that I appreciate about it is, it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
It's extremely hard, and like looking at, I mean, it's not even been a year yet. So in looking at, the future and, all this stuff, and I'm just like, so that's like, I do feel like there's beauty in it, but it is a beast.
Yeah.
It's a beast for sure. Like I wouldn't wish it up on anybody, but I think the thing that I would give somebody is just them understanding the value that you can take from anything. And you can take some value from grief.
Yeah.
I know that may sound crazy, but I think that part, is just being a better person.
Yeah.
Being a better human, being a better love for anything or anybody. And I think that's the good part of it is trying to, take the good out of something.
Yeah.
What they say, make lemonade.
Yeah. Make lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah.
No, that was good. Listen, she just dropped some bars. No,
Bars,
that was good. No, thank you for sharing that, truly, because, I think we all have grieved in some way, right? Whether it was someone passing away or whether it was a job loss or losing something, like there's different ways to grieve things. And to hear you say, like, even in the moment of going through your stuff, like, I can't think that mine is grander than somebody else's. Like somebody else is dealing with some stuff and I got to be okay and still give grace in this moment, even when things around me are going crazy. Right. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So let's talk about love, right? Let's talk about that first time that you saw Thomas. Like, what was that like? What did that look like? Tell the story.
So going into Southeast, my brother were at Webster at the time. And so my brother, I had no intentions on going to Webster, but I met a lot of people from there. I didn't know you went there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
now I'm older.
Okay.
So I graduated in 01. You graduated when?
08.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so we were at Belle Isle and my brother, we moved to a new neighborhood and my brother was like, man, Dad, I want to go to school with the kids in the neighborhood. So my dad was like, he one of them people who like your brother going, you going. And me and my brother was locked in. But I was like, bro, like, I don't want to go there. So we ended up going there. It was crazy. But when we got there and then he ended up going to high school, he saw a lot, he experienced a lot. So he was like, hey, when you get up here, don't you talk to nobody up here. They just want your draws. He just kept telling me every day, they ain't nothing. They just want between your legs. They don't want nothing from you. They can't offer you nothing. They in high school like you. They ain't got no money like you. It's like, there's nothing that any of these guys are going to offer you. And he was very like, don't.
Yeah.
So I got up there like,
yeah.
And people thought I was just mean because I didn't really say much. And I would just like be like, because I just listened to my brother. Like that's my keeper, He had my best interests. And so, but what I was very observant being quiet. And that's surprising because, I'm not super quiet. Now I had some girlfriends I, pop off with and, the teachers and stuff like that because I was a little, rebellious. But one thing I noticed about Thomas, because he was a senior when I was a freshman.
Okay.
being in the hallways, the games, the lunchrooms, is he just moved very different. When I say that his actions towards people were different, his body language towards people his whole aura and energy was just different compared to the people around him. Now I saw what his friends was doing and I peeped game because my brother.
Yeah.
But it was just something that just like became just even more beautiful about him besides his smile. I would say his smile off top because he had a gap. You know, he was dark skinned with a gap. And I was like, this is cute. You know, this is cute. But that smile, and it was just so genuine and contagious. And when I would see it, I would just be like, you know, and we were just kind of like, you know, we all kiki with our friends, like, okay, you know, he cute, blah, blah, blah. But it was just like, it was just something about the way he moved. And so I remember, I didn't even know he had a girlfriend or anything. And I remember I was sitting in the gym waiting on my brother to get out of practice. And he was sitting down, putting his clothes on, and this girl walks up and like plops down on him. And I was just like, my heart was just like, ugh.
Like, dang, there's that boy I like, and he got somebody. Dang. Yeah.
So then, you know, I kept it pushing. And then one day we was leaving out the gym, and I was just walking to the car waiting on my ride. And I was just like, I can't remember the exact words I said per se, but I know I said a couple things, but I know one of them was just like, I love your smile. And he just like, his whole face set up and he was cheesing the whole time. And I was embarrassed. I'm like, why you just say that to this man? So then we leave, you know, he's older than me too. And, you know, he's a senior.
You like, listen, I'm a freshman. I'm about to shoot my shot.
Yeah. Yes. So after that, it was just like, and even between that, like the hallway and stuff, like we would pass each other and you could just kind of feel it, right? You would feel like, you know how you kind of like somebody that like you. And I was just in my mind like, why he ain't trying to like, say nothing. And then I, you know, obviously found out he actually had a girlfriend, but I would see him in the hallways and it was always just this. And even after that, you know, I think he even made the initiative even more to be like, to smile at me more and not like be like, oh, I see her, but like he saw me. Right. And so, and then fast forward, I was working at a restaurant sizzling, and I had this homegirl. She's just all over the place. She a wild girl. She was like, I was the one who was like, calm down. She was talking to his friend. And so I was like, oh, you talking to, that's Thomas is like ride or die, you know, because I paid attention. And I was like, oh my God, you know, so I was over here like, I was like, that's my husband, you know. And I was just playing, you know, and then she was like, after that, you know, she took it and ran with it. And I knew she was in a sense, and I'm like, I don't know why I even said nothing to this girl. Next thing you know, I was working and he sent me a text. And then it just, after that, we became really good friends at first. You know, I was kind of dealing with my oldest son's father. We became really good friends. And I think that was like the platform. And Thomas was just not like he wasn't a sleazeball. He was very considerate. Even when we did speak to each other before I got back with my son's father, like when we were actually talking to each other, I couldn't really tell. Like I was like, do he want to date me? Are we talking? He never really said much. And I was just like, we would talk and he was a good listener, but I was just like, who is this man? You know, in a sense I sat down and I'm like, he not really like, you know how some guys are trying to pursue you really hard. He wasn't like hard.
He was patient.
He was very patient and he was like, I'm not going to afford it. Like, and that's what really like gravitated me to be like, and then I didn't realize it, but when we spun the block, right? We spent the block. Is that how you say it?
I don't know. Don't ask me because I
spin the block. When I became single after dealing with my son's dad, he came. I remember I was working. It was my first apartment job, and I was working the apartment complex as leasing agent. Me and my sister-in-law were sharing this apartment. And he came down from Langston. Like, I mean, I went out there to see him, but like he came one night because I was just like, you know, he kind of found out I was dating again.
Yeah.
He sat on my stairs and he was like, you mine. He was like, you mine.
Period.
You mine. He was just like, it's a wrap.
It's
a
wrap.
So I was like, oh yeah, that's what we doing, you know? So I was like, okay. So that was the first time he ever was like, and I was like, okay, like, so he did feel the same way the whole time. Cause I was kind of I was like, I felt it, but I was like, maybe
I'm feeling something. Yeah,
maybe he's just out in his college life, just living, you know. And I was like, I didn't want to interrupt that because I was like, I don't want to be the girl who's like in a city and you living your college life and you getting played. And I kept that, you know, my brother, you know, telling me about these dudes, and so, and then he said it, and I was like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
So it was a wrap after that. And it was like, okay, I got my friend and
Yeah.
now he my man.
Mm.
Turned into husband. So I was like, okay. So yeah, Thomas just always just kind of like, he was pretty chill.
Yeah.
He was just like, I'm doing what you doing, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm not gonna push you. Like, he
Mm.
never pushed me in any way, you know, when it came to having a relationship with him. It was just very natural and organic.
Mm.
And I think that's the value that I appreciate. Like, I would never take that from granted at all, because
Yeah.
it's very uncommon,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean, I think you answered the question that I was about to ask you, and
yeah.
that was, you know, what did you learn from his love and how
Hmm.
you're going to carry that? And I think you just said it. Like,
Yeah, I think loving people for who they are. I think
yeah,
that's just what Thomas did. He loved everybody, and he allowed people to be themselves. And
yeah,
that's one thing, like, I got to be myself 24/7,
mm,
and he was gonna co-sign
yeah,
24/7. Right? It's like, I mean, obviously he put me in my places, but like, he was my rider. Like, he
yeah,
was like, I got you, you got me. And so that made me even fuel. So it's like fuel to just like support him through this whole situation. Like, he, you know, he was there for me, and I got to be myself. And like, you don't always get to experience that.
yeah.
It's like,
Oh,
we, you know, when we get,
it's a different type of experience when you're able
yeah,
to literally be with your best friend
yeah,
and that also be your lover and your
yes,
confidant. Like, it's a
hmm,
different type of
yeah,
love. So, what does that look like for Gabrielle now? Like,
yeah.
what
I'm scared, girl.
speak on it. I mean,
I'm
be
not
real.
scared of love. I'm
Yeah.
not scared of love, because I think now I can identify from
Yeah.
a mile away,
Yeah.
right? I done felt something, experienced it, been through it, and it's like, I can see it if it's there or not,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, I think for me, it's just, I think the scary part is like not being able to ever match that again, but
Mm.
understanding that it's not going to be the same with anybody ever again, because that was something we shared.
Yeah.
But hopefully being able to share a good experience with somebody else, in a different situation. I just say, I'm not scared to love or be remarried or all that stuff. I think that's all like all open for me.
Yeah.
But I think the part is like, keeping that comparison
Yeah.
of what I had, and like, okay, you don't check these boxes, so bye.
Yeah.
You know, you don't,
Mm.
like, why do I gotta settle or compromise
Yeah.
whenever I had this? I don't want to
Mhm.
go to that, but also understanding that, you know, we teach people how to love us.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we both allowed each other to do.
Mhm.
You know, we taught each other how to love us, right? Love
Yeah.
each other. And so that's why I think we were hard with it and locked in, you know,
Yeah.
versus like, you know, now it's like, I don't know, it's like, I think wanting to have that organic experience, but also being open to the fact that everybody isn't in that same realm of
Yeah.
growth in life, or has that resume of what we've been through together, what I experienced and all that stuff, and just being open to being like communicating
Yeah.
clearly and allowing someone to be themselves. And then, you know, also being like, okay, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe we can figure it out. Maybe
Yeah.
I can be your friend or influence and have a different relationship with you. I don't
Yeah.
know. But like right now, it's just, I think for me, I'm just finding my new normal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's,
mhm.
I think, you know, just watching you just from afar on how
Mhm.
you handled everything with just grace and just to
Yeah.
be able to keep going. Like, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, we still gotta make ends meet. We still
Right.
gotta, you know, take care of these
Gotta feed
kids.
kids, these 3 boys.
Yeah, right.
Cause they eat a lot.
Listen,
They
I got girls, so I don't, and I still feel they eat a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, but what was that like for you in those moments of, you know, just having to go through all that and still continue to push? What was that like
Mhm.
for you? Was there ever any moments where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore?
Oh,
Like, I
yeah.
just want to spend my
Yeah.
whole day with him. Like,
Yeah.
what did that look like for
I think,
you?
you know, I think we always remember a person for who they were,
Mm.
despite their different form. It was like a
Yeah.
different form. Like, Thomas was still very much who he was. Yes, there was a lot of ups and downs. There was a
Yeah.
lot of checking out, even for him. You know, it's like, but yeah, did I think all the time, like, oh my God, I could just pull out of this or live a different life? Yeah, but at the same time, I knew it wasn't a question of like leaving, because
Mhm.
I knew who Thomas was before ALS, and I
Yeah.
knew that his impact on his the way he was, or the way he dealt with things was because of ALS. So there was a lot of grace, of course, because I knew a different person,
Yeah.
and obviously ALS altered our situation drastically.
Mm.
But I knew who he was and how good of a person he was, and a good friend to me, and a good lover and father and all that stuff. And I was just like, there is no, like, we gonna ride it, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? He came in during a crazy way, and he helped me in a lot of ways too, and like I kept that too in mind. But
Yeah.
it's not to say I stayed because, like, I felt like I owed him. It was more so just the love. I mean,
Yeah.
you saw it, you saw everything, you experienced the day-to-days of it. So it's like there was no way that, like, I was leaving him on his own with it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was extremely hard. And yes, there were days where I was like, there were days where he was like, "Y'all just put me in a nursing home, or y'all just put me,
Mm.
I'ma move in with something." He was very considerate of what we were dealing with too, and that's
Yeah.
the thing that I loved about him. It wasn't like, y'all gotta stay here and deal with this. It was
Yeah.
like, if y'all can't do it, I understand. But it was never like he was selfish about it.
Yeah.
We had to sacrifice everything. He was always willing and trying to find help in ways to where we could still have a life
Yeah.
outside of ALS. And so that's what made me really stick it out too, was like he was very considerate of, the boys and us and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Did he cut up though, honey? He did.
Listen, honestly, you answered. I was kind of just, I wasn't even
Yeah.
asking necessarily that, but I truly believe it's all about God and how this all plays out.
Mhm.
So you answered that because I do believe that there's people out there that deal with, the struggle of, okay, I made these vows, I
Yeah.
took these vows of to death do
Mhm.
us part, right? But I didn't know it was gonna be all
Yeah.
of this, right?
No.
And I think about that now, with
Yeah.
my husband, we're getting older, right? And it can happen at any time, but you know, would I really, like, would them vows really resonate and be here
Mhm.
if something were to happen
Yeah.
that I would have to take total care of him, all of those things. And so we have to think
Mhm.
about that because there's people out there, I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah.
let's keep it real, that are like, I want to give up. This is too much.
It is.
So the fact that you stayed and it was
Mhm.
no other option for you,
Yeah.
and the fact that you said, like, I knew him before all of
Right.
this. This
Right.
is my man. This is my best friend.
Mhm.
And to even talk about how he came in and took on just that responsibility with your son that
Yeah.
became his son. Like,
Yeah.
that all just resonates with me. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
It is. And that's how I mean, like, the whole love. It's like
Mhm.
there's different parts of it that make it love. It's not
Yeah.
like we put the stereotype, like you said, on the vows and all that stuff. It wasn't the vows. It was like, it obviously the commitment part, but
Right.
it was more so of like the love.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made us stay and stick it out, even on both sides. Because I think for him, he was just like, he felt like he was holding us back in a
Yeah.
way, and he felt bad about that. And I'm like, no, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's hard, but like, even I wouldn't judge somebody if they left though. To be honest with you, it's a very difficult thing. It's a
Yeah.
very difficult thing to take care of somebody, especially somebody you love, somebody you married to, you share bills and household and children with. It's not easy
Yeah.
to just like leave. So it's a very hard thing to do. But I wouldn't say if it was just that bad, like, because it can taking care of somebody can get real bad. I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's a mental challenge because they offload their struggles with what they're
Mm.
dealing with on you. So you have
Yeah.
to figure out, am I going to take the toxic side of it, where it's like, you get being called names, or
Yeah.
you being, they're mad about something not going the way, or you didn't do something right, or you tried your best to take them somewhere, but it didn't happen. And so there were conversations and scenarios like that happen, because it's a lot. It's like, it's a lot to take care of somebody and have to take care of yourself, and plus 3 other children,
Yeah.
so it was intense sometimes. So that's why I said I wouldn't judge anybody for ever leaving, because it could be very, very hard,
Yeah.
to where you lose yourself,
Yeah.
and then you become resentful,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be that way, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, I think you just do what's healthy for you
Yeah.
in whatever situation, because like I said, people with, when they're battling something, they don't know how to treat others
Mhm.
sometimes. You're a punching bag.
Yeah.
And it can get bad, and I'm just like, I wouldn't wish it up on nobody, like I said before, but I think that I don't know. I really do thank God for allowing me and choosing me to play that role. I really
Mm.
do. But it was a tough one, girl.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
tough. And it still is, because it's like it still affects our family,
Yeah.
right? So it still is a very large
Hard.
situation
Yeah.
to carry around. So
Yeah.
mhm.
Let's talk about that day. I
Yeah.
mean, we knew it was coming, right? You
Yeah.
guys knew. But how did you breathe again?
I think Thomas made it easy. And I
Mm.
say this because like his aura of being really real about stuff. Like
Mhm.
he was very honest with the kids. He was very honest with me about his feelings.
Yeah.
We had a lot of scares over the last probably 2-3 years to where, we didn't think he was gonna come out of stuff. I mean, he was diagnosed in 2014 and he was given 2 to 5 years.
Mhm.
And he went 9 months with not even knowing what he really had.
Yeah.
Nobody did, and he hid it from us.
Mm.
And he was like watching videos and stuff on ALS. I'm like, what is this man doing? I'm over here
Yeah.
crying, like in the kitchen cooking, like, why are we watching this? And
Yeah.
come to find out, it's because he was told, that he may have it.
Oh,
So we
wow.
went 9 months without really knowing like Thomas's condition. So I think that it was a lot. And he was given 2 to 5 years. So, the first couple years we were like, okay, second opinion. Let's figure out. Let's change diets. We went vegan for 7
Yeah.
years. Let's ride this with him. Let's figure it out. But then there was also a point where he was like, hey, let's just live life. So we lived life. And I think we always were just very transparent with people
Mhm.
about how we felt, both of us. I mean, more so him. I think I couldn't always really speak because it wasn't registered. Because it's like, you're the wife, you're the caretaker.
Yeah.
You signed up for this. This is literally things that were said to me. You signed up for this. That's your husband, things like
Yeah.
that. But Thomas was like, hey, no, like, she didn't, this
Mm.
happened to her too, so it's like that was the good part of him being very that protector.
Yeah.
It's because he did stand up for us, and he was also like, because people have their takes on like how your title should be ran, right,
Yeah.
as a wife and
Yeah.
as the household or
What you're
whatever.
supposed to do. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so that was the thing about Thomas. And so whenever like we had these scares, I think I was calm because I know that like for him, he went through a whole lot. And it
Mm.
was like, okay, now, he was that day, I think the day before, it was the day before, 2 days before. I had to ask my sister-in-law, I think it was 2 days before. We went to Chicken and Pickle and we went to go watch Bad Boys. And
Mhm.
he was like very calm.
Mm.
And like usually he would be like kind of like asking questions or like, just, but he felt very like, I think at peace. He was like super, super calm. And I was just like looking at him like, it's coming, in a sense. And he told me too. He was like, he was laughing. He was like, y'all gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Mm.
And I was just like, boy, quit saying that. Like, in my mind, but at my heart, I was like, this is like, because we were given warnings and his machine was not really, it wasn't really functioning anymore.
Mhm.
So like he knew it. And
Yeah.
like I think he was trying to prepare us, but it was like we were always told, he can go in any minute. So I don't know if it like okay, I'm gonna catch my breath though.
Yeah. Yeah. And get some
Yeah.
tissue.
Yeah, where is the
It's on the
tissue?
side right here.
Oh Lord. I feel like I can't talk right
Nope,
now.
you okay. You okay. You
No,
okay.
cut that part out.
You
I was like,
okay.
let me catch my breath. But yeah, yeah, it got deep.
Take a moment. Take a
Yeah.
moment. I know, I know this is probably one of the first times, especially in a public kind of setting,
Oh
because it's
yeah.
gonna be,
Yeah.
um on the screens and all the things,
Yeah.
but this is the first time, and so again, I honor your heart and just
Yeah.
you being here and sharing this, because I know it's not easy.
Yeah.
I haven't lost a spouse, but I've lost people dear to me,
Yeah.
so I know that feeling. But I can definitely tell just from afar how you loved him,
Yeah.
just that there was love there, just that respect, and that you care for him.
Yeah.
And so, I think I told you, I said, sis, I don't know what to say to you.
Yeah.
I don't know the words, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Like if you need anything. And so, um, talk about, if you don't want to share any more on
Yeah.
what you were saying, talk about how the support of just the people around you, your
Yeah.
group, how that instrumental that has been.
Yeah, the support is, I mean, obviously we have a lot of support. We have a lot of love, a lot of people that love us and we feel it, we
Mhm.
know it, but it's also it could be a lot.
Yeah.
And again, it goes to like people trying to tell you, how you should
Yeah.
feel or how you should move on or what you should do. So that's the hard part of it. But other than that, I mean, we do have a lot of people that have tried, other ways of supporting us too, but
Yeah.
it's just like it's a process and it's a step. And I have to protect my kids
Yeah. For sure.
and myself and my space and what our new normal is going to look like or what it's looking like now because this is our new normal, but it's just kind of navigating that. But yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful for anybody, that has said anything. Cause I mean, people don't, like you said, you don't always know
Mhm.
how to say the right thing because you're not dealing with it,
Yeah.
or it's just such a sensitive thing to talk about. But I think that people, the beauty of it is people just be people,
Yeah.
they say what they can. And some of it's like, really, but it's
Yeah.
also more of like
Yeah.
coming back down to that loving for people
Yeah.
in their
Giving their
present, who they are,
grace.
giving them
Yeah.
grace and
Mhm.
understanding people just gonna people,
Yeah.
and you can't
That's good.
control it.
People just gonna people.
People will people you, honey, and
Yes.
you just gotta have, you can't have an expectation out of everybody.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for me and him, is like just being grateful for any experience with anybody. You learn
Mhm.
from it, you move on from it, you say no, whatever you want to do, but it's like being grateful for that experience and not having all these expectations,
Yeah.
because then it protects yourself and you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
just don't feel like, it, you got to grieve it, I guess, in a
Yeah.
sense. Cause some people it's hard, friendships, all that stuff. We all had different friendships and lost friendships, got friendships. It's
Yeah.
like, it has been a different wave because I think, we don't all go through the same thing every day. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a tough thing. So
Different experience every day.
yeah.
Let me ask you this. As of right now, what is your plans to honor his legacy?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, like I do my best at like uh being involved with
Mhm.
ALS, like the association, Steve Gleason Foundation, all
Okay.
these things, some of these people who have lost people or have ALS like Steve Gleason does. Um It's just, my goal is to eventually have a foundation
Yeah.
for him and in his life, and that was through basketball.
Mhm.
And we held tournaments and stuff. Unfortunately, that didn't continue how we wanted it to be. We kind of shut that down because
Yeah.
of some things, but I hope to pick it back up and honor, like his thing was like he wanted the children to be more involved, to have like a youth tournament.
Yeah.
So my goal is to eventually, when I get to that headspace, is to really focus on making that happen for him, because we were wanting to get to a point where we would be able to give back to people
Yeah.
instead of them just giving to us. We was gonna, take, the earnings or whatever, the
Mhm.
profits, and just cycle it back. Like, we were, thankfully, Steve Gleason helped us get a van, because those vans are
Expensive.
very,
Yeah.
very expensive. It's like
Yeah.
a house. And so
And it allows them far as wheelchairs, things
yeah,
like that.
it's a
Okay.
lift van, and
Okay.
it allowed. I mean, God, we were so thankful to have that, because Thomas, like, it was, we would have to put him break the wheelchair down, put him in the car,
Oh,
and
wow.
you'd have to position him a certain way, because if not, you can compromise his breathing.
Oh,
And
wow.
so it was very tedious in
Yeah.
rain, sleet, snow. So we were very grateful for him to help us purchase that van. He helped with a big chunk of it, and so when we got blessed with that, and then the tournament stuff,
Yeah.
we were like, okay, we want to do this for other families. And one thing that Steve Gleason does too is he helps pay for like trips and
Mhm.
things, or like, or somebody to come in and be like, I'll take care of this person for a couple
Oh, that's
days,
awesome. Yeah.
and give your caretaker a break.
Yeah.
And so that was like super helpful. So I want to get to a point to where I'm able to give back, and it's not like this, oh, we're giving you money. It's like, it's actually something intentional.
Yeah.
Like, when you have a person that's sick or a spouse that you're caring for, it's like you have a tool to help and give some relief on both sides, and it relieves that person from, you know, the burden that you know, take on, that they say, you know, they won't be a burden. And then it, you know, they can get out and get around, and
Yeah.
it helps you too. And so I like, that's one thing I want to do, besides just staying with the ALS Association. We did the walk to the feet.
Yeah.
When they did that, that was extremely hard, but I mean, I was like this close to not showing up. But I was so glad I did, because I got to talk to some of the people there with it, and also
Yeah.
some of the people that have lost. And it was like, I mean, I probably made a lot of people cry too.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were all in there boohooing, but it was just, it was like, again, we talked about that, adding that value.
Yep.
And, you know, with us being, you know, I'm only 35, Thomas 37 this year. And it's like, he got diagnosed at 27. And having it so young, when it's more common, it's way more common in some, like I think the common age is like 44-year-old white male.
Okay.
Is the last stats I read. That was a while ago. It might have changed now.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like when you get a car, everybody got the same
Yeah.
car. You know what I mean? It's like now everybody, like, you seeing all the people with ALS now. And it's like, what is this? We didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah.
You know, you hear of MS and other, Parkinson's are very common neurology disease, but ALS, I'm like, this is the weirdest thing in the world. There's no treatment. No cure. It's
crazy.
They got some minuscule stuff out there that they've tested, like stem cells and like this medicine that's supposed to slow it down, but it's nothing of an impact to help somebody. It's really just like, you just live as much as you can and be comfortable as much as you can, and that's it. Or you decide, you know, the person can decide, like, you know, I don't want to use a vent, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. So, and those were things, you know, he talked about several times, but I think, you know, he lived for us, and he wanted to live. I mean, he did. And I think he just, it got to a point where it just wasn't like that anymore. But I think we'll continue, you know, being in contact with them, and eventually do the foundation. And obviously I have people that have reached out to me and asked me stuff and asked me to connect them, and, you know, what did we do in this scenario and stuff like that. So just, you know, being open about it and talking about it and educating people about it, and continuing to spread the word, so, you know, we don't have any more diagnosis, you know, and if we do, we get a treatment for it, versus like, it's still to this day
not one,
not
which
a
is
cure.
crazy to me.
It is
crazy.
insane, the amount of money, but it all comes down to people, like, actually, like, you know, I will say our government, if I want to be exact, putting in the effort to use the money and where it needs to go
and find a cure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we were talking before we started filming, and the purpose of you coming on, and I told you I want you to say all that before, you know, but I'm not, again, unscripted. But you sharing your story is so important. I think, I believe it will help so many others that needed to hear what Gabrielle had to say about what she's been through over the last few months. And, you know, it's really, this whole platform is to have people be able to come share their real stories, have real conversations, and just be real. So is there anything, before I give you the last question, is there anything that you just want to, you know, say just about this platform, just about you, just anything?
I mean, obviously we talked, like, I wasn't, I was like, I got invited on a couple podcasts and a couple things to speak on, and even just showing up to stuff. And I think for me, it's like finding the balance in a safe space for me. So I don't, you know, not show up, I guess. But I mean, I felt like, you know, I have a lot of people asking the same questions, so this could help. I have a lot of people that may be in the same situation, and just if I can add that value to them or help them in any way, like, that's my piece with it. You know, is like being able to let people know, like, you know, it's something you can still be yourself in. It's something you can still work out and live and have all the things you want and all that stuff. It's just the way of just getting through it and navigating it, right? So I mean, that's pretty much it. I will say, I mean, everybody goes through stuff. We all got a lot of life happening, especially nowadays. I mean, we hear it all the time, and I
Yeah.
know some of it comes with age, but we all got a lot of life happening. I just say, like, you just make sure you recognize that when you see other people,
Yeah.
that, like, we don't know what that person and how they're dealing with something that we think can maybe be so small but so grand in their realm of life versus ours, and that what I went through isn't to, what did we say earlier, to, like, kind of disregard what you're going through or think that I'm better
Yeah. Or mine is bigger. Yeah.
because I went through this and I should be treated a certain way.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like, just love everybody. Love them
Yeah.
for who they are, treat them with kindness, and it's okay to, like, have those conversations. It's okay to say how you really feel.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel how you really feel.
That part.
Yeah.
That
It's
part.
okay to feel that way.
That part. Listen, girl. So my last question to you is, if you could,
Mhm.
if Thomas could hear you right now,
Yeah.
what would you tell him?
I got a lot of shit to tell you. That was my
Yeah,
homie.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
my homie. So I'm like, oh my God, I said this to his friend the other day. I was like, bro, like, I got so much stuff I want to tell this dude. And I be over here thinking, I mean, like, I had to get out. Like, some days it's really random, but thinking, like, I'm going to come home and tell this man. And Thomas just, again, he would just add the spice to it, or the
Yeah.
chaos to it, or the drama to it, or he sometimes would be like, oh, like, I don't even know why you even worried about that. Like, he was very nonchalant about a lot of things. And I mean, man, he was just he was like a sanctuary for a lot of people. He was easy to talk to.
Yeah.
And he was loving, and he was gonna keep it 100 with you. And if he felt like it maybe his realness wasn't ready to be said, he would keep it to himself. And that's one thing that he taught me, and I continue to try and be better at that. But yeah, I want to tell him, like, I got so much to tell you. I got so much to say. That's what I want to tell him.
Oh my God.
What are you doing?
Yes.
I got so much to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Listen, you are an amazing, amazing woman, an amazing individual. Like I told you before, just to be able to watch you and how you've handled everything. I know you've probably wanted to scream from the mountaintops, just from just the pain and everything that you're going through, but you've done it just in a way that you're just a light. You're a light, and I had to get you here to be able to share with the people just how amazing you are, but just your story. We see this boss out here selling commercial real estate as well as residential, and just doing great things and making waves in these real estate streets. But at the end of the day, there's a layer that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to see, and that's just who you are as a person and as a mother, and what you've had to endure over the last few months. And so thank you for coming in the real room.
Inviting me.
Yes, ma'am. When I sent that invitation, I was like, Lord, please let her say yes.
Because I did, and I was like, even leading up to it, coming back from the trip and running around the world, I was just like, okay, I'm going to stick to it. Because I've done this several times. I've been asked to speak on stuff, and I was like, that's one thing to focus on, is being committed and staying committed and following through. And so that's one thing I'm working on. And I think that's going to help me navigate my new normal, is not being, like, getting myself out of that headspace. So I appreciate you, allowing me to come on here. It's an honor too. I mean, I told you, you a go-getter. You a mom power. You like me, you got a lot of things you want to do, and you're doing them. And I love that for you. That inspires me to, like, pull the trigger on things that I need to pull the trigger on. And I mean, I'm watching you too. And that's why I was like, man, I can relate to that, and I respect what you're doing, and I appreciate it. And I know what you're doing here is intentional. And I was just like, if I can be in there and share, and, like, I'm good with that. So,
well, thank you. I
Yeah,
love
thank
you.
you.
Anything else for the listeners out there?
No, I mean, yeah, that's my YouTube. I don't know what I'm playing. My friend says that's my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube.
YouTube channel,
No,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
definitely not creating a YouTube. No, it's not me. I can't do it. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just not me. But I just laugh because she says that all the time. Like when she tells me a story, she ends with, "Yeah, that's my YouTube." Subscribe.
What is next for you? What does it
I
look like?
mean, honestly, right now, I mean, obviously we do real estate. I love
Yeah.
real estate. I know the power of real estate, what you can make, how much money you can make, what you can do. I'm always going to be tied to that in some way or form. So I'm going to continue to do that. And just, be healthy. I think my focus now is like being a healthy person and balancing more, in our new normal. My kids, be more, way more involved because, like, I'm a single parent now.
Yeah.
So my husband, he did a lot from that bed, girl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the man was in the bed, but he did a lot, and I see it now. I'm like, God,
Yeah.
I need like.
How did you get this done?
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of love and a lot of people that would do things for him, and so he would do things sometimes before I even got to him because he knew I was doing a lot. He knew I was the one working and I was a provider.
Yeah,
obviously he provided how he could through what he made before he got sick, and he made some stuff happen, and that was the green light about him is that man was a hard worker and he was very financially wise. He was very smart, and so that was a lot of the balance between us two. And me, I'm just like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And he's like, okay, how do I support these drinks? All the stuff she's doing. So it was great. So I think for me right now is just finding a balance in what we're doing and find a healthier place for me to go figure it out. But I think, I'll continue to do real estate and just be a better mom, and, eventually all the other stuff will come along. And I mean, I don't really have anything, big to say other than just getting my whole self together. That's a big thing to do.
Self-love, self-care.
Self-love. That's a big thing to do. I don't think we really sit down and work on ourselves, and that's the reason why we can't be better people sometimes. It's like, take some time out
that part
to figure your shit out because you out here acting crazy,
right?
And so like I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. I don't want to be mad and like move out the way and I'm this and I'm that. I want to be a better person and I want to be a better mom. And so that's my main focus at the top. And then it's, obviously business and all that other stuff. So,
I love it.
Thank you.
I'm big sis. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm supporting you. I'm rooting you on, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Just know I'm praying and I am here for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
You're so welcome, boo. Okay. All right, y'all. So she is proof that grief does not necessarily have to break us, but it will change us, and it will change us, hopefully, into better and stronger people. I thank you for joining us on The Real Room. Until next time, keep it real.